Welcome back to this course module of communication engineering. So in the last lecture, we have seen the bandwidth requirement of FM signal and power requirement of the FM signal. So today in this lecture, we are going to see the generation of the frequency modulated signal by various techniques. So basically, if we see the generation method of the frequency modulated signal, then there are two methods which are popularly available, which are first one is the direct method, in which we use a voltage control oscillator to get the FM signal, and the another method which is our indirect method, which is most popularly used for commercial FM transmission. So that is known as the indirect method, which is developed by the scientist Armstrong. So today in this lecture, we are going to see the frequency modulation generation by using the indirect method. And in the coming lectures, I will be discussing about the direct method of generation of the FM signal. So let's see the discussion for indirect generation of the FM signal by using the Armstrong method. So first of all, we have this particular block diagram. So we have to understand what is this block diagram says. So as its name suggests that it is the indirect method of generating the frequency modulation. Okay. So how this frequency modulation, so we are generally, we are actually talking about the generation of WBFM signal, wide band FM signal. Okay. So commercially we use WBFM signal for means transmission. For example, we are having the FM radio. So you all must be aware that we are having the FM radio, which is actually having its radio frequency carrier, which is varying between 88 megahertz to 108 megahertz. You might be knowing that we are having a red FM, okay, which is like coming at 93.5 FM, okay, 93.5 megahertz. And we are having a different frequency modulated radio stations, FM stations, okay, FM radio stations. So that are actually having its carrier in between 88 megahertz to 108 megahertz. So in this indirect method, as its name suggests, it is an indirect method of generating the wideband FM signal. So how it is generated by using the indirect method, that we have to understand. So this is the basic block diagram of generating the WBFM signal by using the indirect method. So first of all, in this indirect method, why we are calling it as an indirect method? Because first of all, the message signal that we want to send, for example, in the case of FM signal, we generally send the, we can send the voice message signal, and we can also send the audio message signals. So as you know that the audio signals is actually having its frequency range varying from 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz, okay, because it is the audible range for human ears, okay. And our voice signal is having its bandwidth from 300 hertz to 3.5 kilohertz. So basically, in this indirect method of generation of the WBFM signal, we take the message signal, okay, and then this message signal will be used to first generate a narrowband FM signal, okay. First, we need to generate a narrowband FM signal, and then this narrowband signal will be further used for generation of the WBFM signal, okay, wideband frequency modulated signal. So if you know about the NBFM signal, we already have discussed that in the case of narrowband FM signal, the signal will have its modulation index beta that will be less than unity, okay, 1 radian. And in the case of WBFM signal, we are having the modulation index that will be much greater than the 1 radian. So there are more properties about the typical WBFM signal that we use commercially. Okay, I will be telling you those properties. Okay, so basically in this indirect method, from this block diagram, we can understand this message will be used for generation of the NBFM signal, and then we need to have a certain circuitry that will be able to convert this narrowband FM signal into the wideband FM. So this is one of the block diagram in which after the nano means NBFM block, we are showing that like we are having a frequency multiplier. Okay, we are having a frequency multiplier. But in typical, if you see in the commercial applications of generation of the FM signal, it is not only the frequency multiplier. We do have a certain frequency converter circuits. Okay, frequency converter circuit, or it is also known as the mixers. Okay, so first of all, before going into the details of this indirect method generation of WVFM signal, I first would like to explain you what is this frequency multiplier. Okay, so first we understand what is the functionality of the frequency multiplier, then what will be the functionality of the mixer circuit, then only we will be able to understand the indirect method generation of our FM signal. Okay, so first of all, you can see that the frequency multiplier, it consists of a non-linear device followed by an appropriate band pass filter. Okay, so here you can see in this block diagram. Okay, so this dotted section is actually our frequency multiplier circuit. Okay, so within the frequency multiplier, if somewhere it is written like we are having a frequency multiplier circuit, then this frequency multiplier circuit reflects these two components. Okay, first is a non-linear device, and then it is followed by a suitable band pass filter. So how it works, that we have to understand. So I told you that we are having a diode. Okay, we are having a diode that is also a non-linear device, and that could have like we have already used it for generation of the EM signal. Okay, it is having a different characteristics. For example, we are giving V input equals to means input signal as equals to V input, then V output will be equals to something A, Vi plus B, Vi square plus C, Vi to the power cube. Okay, and that way it will be able to generate the signal at the output. Okay, so here I'm not discussing about what kind of nonlinear devices we are taking and what will be the characteristics, because there are so many devices which are available, and we can model it properly to get the proper functionality. Okay, so now in this case, suppose that if we are having a nonlinear device. Okay, so first of all, try to understand the functionality of the circuit. So let us suppose that we are having a nonlinear device whose function is to square the incoming signal. Okay, whatever the input signal that we are going to give, this circuit is going to square it. Fine. So when we are giving input as equals to AC cos theta, then the output V output T produced by this circuit will be V output T equals to AC square cos square theta. So now we can just rewrite this equation. V output T, that will be equals to AC square 1 plus cos 2 theta upon 2. So we can again modify it, and we can get it this equation: V output T equals to AC square by 2 plus AC square by 2 cos 2 theta. So after having an appropriate band pass filter, we can filter out the DC term, and we can retain only this particular term. Okay, which is containing frequency term equals to cos 2 theta. Okay, so our output can be this. Okay, our final output can be this after passing through an appropriate band pass filter and eliminating the all other means non-desired components. Okay, so only we have to pass the desired component by designing a suitable band pass filter, and then only we can select only a desired component that we want. Now, for example, suppose we have already defined the angle for our FM signals. Okay, so how we have defined the angle theta I? If you recall, in the previous lectures, I defined this theta IT was equals to 2 pi FCT plus 2 pi KF integration over 0 to T M tau and D tau. And we also did a little bit calculation about the single tone modulation case. So if we take this M tau equals to something AM cos 2 pi FM tau, then obviously this theta IT can be written as theta IT equals to 2 pi FCT plus beta sine 2 pi FMT. So this was the expression of our angle for FM modulated signal. So now just you try to replace this theta t, okay, here in this equation. Okay, so suppose this theta is equals to theta IT, and that is defined equals to 2 pi FCT plus beta sine 2 pi FMT. then what we can get is, if you substitute here, we will be getting AC square by 2 cos 2 pi FCT plus beta sine 2 pi FMT. Now, if you multiply this factor 2 inside this bracket, what we are going to get is V output equals to AC square by 2 cos 2 pi 2 FC, okay, plus 2 FCT plus 2 beta sine 2 pi FMT. Now, if you try to make an observation that if we are having a frequency modulated signal, okay, any FM signal, okay, if we are giving an FM signal as an input to a frequency multiplier circuit, okay, any FM signal, as in this case, you can see we are having a massive signal that will be able to generate a narrowband FM signal. So we have already discussed how to generate the narrowband FM signal in our previous lectures, okay. So first of all, we need to generate an NBFM signal that will be having beta less than equals to less than 1 radian, and then this signal will be passed through a frequency multiplier. Means this will be passed through such circuit. Okay, this type of circuit. So when it is passing through this type of circuit, its output V output T, if you observe, what happens is its initial carrier frequency was F equals to FC. Okay, initial carrier frequency was F equals to FC, and similarly this input FM signal was having its modulation index beta equals to its modulation index was beta, okay, and its frequency deviation that will be equals to delta F, okay, because beta is defined as delta F divided by FM. So its modulation index was beta and its frequency deviation was equals to delta F. Now, after passing through this frequency multiplier, if you see this output, this V output T becomes like AC square by 2 and cos 2 pi. This FC becomes 2 FC, okay. So when the multiplication factor is of 2, okay, because we are squaring this particular input, okay. So similarly, we can have like a multiplication factor by 2 or by factor of 3 by having a different nonlinear device characteristics, okay. So here it is becoming 2 FC, and then this modulation index is becoming 2 beta, okay. So what is the effect when we are passing any signal through a frequency multiplier circuit, okay, with multiplication factor of n, okay. So here it is a multiplication factor n equals to 2. So when it is a generalized expression, if we want to write, then this value will be equals to n, okay. So basically what happens is the carrier frequency FC will become NFC, okay. It will be going to multiply it with the factor of n. Similarly, beta will becomes n beta and delta F will becomes n delta F, okay. So these are the changes that we are going to obtain when a signal is passed through a frequency multiplier, okay. Whenever it is passed through a frequency multiplier, this changes is going to occur in the output signal. So this is that we have to keep in mind. These all parameter is going to be multiplied with the multiplication factor of the frequency multiplier. So now if we understood these things, okay, we understood these things. And one more point that we have to take care is that it's modulating frequency, okay. The baseband signal or the massive signal frequency FM that we have taken, it is not going to change when our frequency multiplier, when we pass the signal through the frequency multiplier. It remains as equals to FM. That is the more important point. So basically it is going to affect the carrier frequency, it is going to affect the modulation index, it is also going to affect the frequency deviation, but it doesn't changes the message frequency FM. So this is what the effect of the frequency multiplier, okay. So now we have to look at the effect of the mixer, okay. So once we understood this one, we are also having a another circuit which is called as the frequency converter or a mixer, okay. It's two different names is there, frequency converter, either you can call it as a frequency converter or mixer. So basically it is a circuit consists of a product modulator followed by an appropriate band pass filter. So what we have is we are having a product modulator, okay, and then we will be having two input signals. So let us say we are having two cosine functions. So first cosine function is having its frequency equals to FC, and here we have to give a local carrier, okay, with frequency of equals to FL. Okay, so after giving this to carrier, when it is passed through a product modulator, then we are going to get the two cosine functions. Okay, we are going to get the two cosine functions of two different frequencies, and that frequencies will be equals to FL minus FC and FL plus FC. Okay, so basically I'm just writing, assuming that this FL is greater than FC. Okay, if FC is greater than FL, you can write this frequency components equals to FC minus FL and FC plus FL. Okay, so these will be the two frequency component that we are going to get at the output of the product modulator, and then we have to suitably design a band pass filter to choose the one of the frequency component. Either we have to design the band pass filter such that it will be able to only select the FL minus FC component, or it may be able to select the FL plus FC component. So it will be completely depending on our requirement, which particular component we want to select. So whenever we are selecting the FL minus FC, so whenever we are having the output which is corresponding to a cosine function with frequency FL minus FC, it is called as the down conversion is happened. Okay, down conversion. So down conversion of the signal has happened. Whenever we are selecting FL plus FC, then it is called as we are up conversion is happened. Okay, we are doing the up conversion of the signal. It means that we are increasing the carrier frequency in the second part. Okay, and in the first part, what we are doing is we are decreasing the carrier frequency after passing through the suitable band pass filter. So you try to understand that if we have these two signals. Okay, I'm just taking one example. Suppose that we are having at the input side, we are having cos 2 pi FCT plus phi and cos 2 pi FLT. Okay, at the other side, okay, if we have this two frequency component, then if we multiply these two together, okay, then we are going to get half cos 2 pi FL plus FCT plus phi and cos 2 pi FL minus FC plus phi. So this will be the output. Okay, this will be the output. So by passing a signal, okay, through a mixer circuit, okay, you remember that only carrier frequency is going to be affected. Okay, only carrier frequency is going to be affected. There will be no effect onto the modulation index beta or modulating frequency FM or frequency deviation delta F. So that will be the effect of frequency converter or mixer onto the signal. So that we need to remember. So we have to look at the typical frequency parameter of AM and FM radio receivers. So please remember that till now I haven't discussed about the radio receivers for amplitude modulation or AM radios or for FM radios. But here I just would like to bring into your some notice about the typical parameters that we generally use for these radio stations. We already know that we are having a different radio stations, and we are having a radio and we are receiving the different radio stations on our radios. Okay, whether it is a mobile or we have a typical radio set, okay, we are going to receive a different stations. Okay, so we do have the AM radio stations and we also have the FM radio stations. So first of all, I would like to tell you that if you try to observe, okay, nowadays many people are actually hearing the listening to the FM radios. Okay, many of the users. Okay, because we do have the FM radio in our like automobiles also we have. Okay, in our mobile phones we do have this FM radio. Okay, and AM radio is nowadays we are using again. It is not like that we don't use it. So basically we do have the AM radio stations and we are having the FM radio stations. So if you try to observe that what is the typical frequency that you are tuning to catch a particular radio station. So you might be knowing that in the FM case, okay, in the frequency modulated radio stations, if you want to tune a particular station, then the typical frequency range, if you see onto your radio set or onto your mobile, you will find that it is varying from 88 to 108 megahertz. So this is the typical frequency range. So basically it is the RF carrier range. Okay, we are having a RF carrier range. So first of all, what frequency carrier we use for transmission of the FM signal or AM signal, that we should be able to know. So basically in this range, we are going to receive our FM radio. Similarly, for the case of AM radio, this frequency is varying between 535 kilohertz to 1605 kilohertz. Okay, 1605 kilohertz. So these are the typical frequency range or the carrier that we use for different radio stations. Okay. So now there is one parameter which is called as the mid-band frequency of IF section, which is the intermediate frequency section. So please do not bother about what is IF section, because I have not discussed till now what is the radio receivers. Okay, I will take up this particular topic in a separate lecture. Okay, so we must just try to understand there is a mid-band frequency that we required. Okay, so that mid-band frequency is also called as the IF frequency. Okay, so IF frequency is having, for AM radio we are choosing it to be a 455 kilohertz, and there is a reason why we are choosing. Okay, I will explain you later in the detailed discussion. And for the FM radio we are choosing this value equals to 10.7 megahertz. Similarly, the bandwidth allotted for each stations. Okay, in the case of AM it is 10 kilohertz. Okay, for each AM radio stations, if you listen to any AM radio station, all those AM radio stations will be taking a bandwidth of equals to 10 kilohertz. But at the same time, FM radio is having its bandwidth equals to 200 kilohertz. So you can see that basically the FM radio, when you listen to the FM radio quality and AM radio quality, you will find that generally the FM radio is having a far better quality than the AM radio. Because of this, okay, because FM radio is each radio station is having 200 kilohertz, okay, bandwidth, and here it is just having a 10 kilohertz bandwidth. So you try to just observe this things. Okay, you try to listen a song onto a AM radio station, and then you try to listen the same thing onto a onto a FM radio station. You will find that the song that you are listening to FM radio will have a far better quality. And what is the reason? Because of the bandwidth. Okay, because in the FM radio station we do have a very large bandwidth. There are certain other reasons that we can also discuss, but the first thing which is important is about the bandwidth, because we are sending so much of frequency information. Okay, and here we are just restricting the information within the 5 kilohertz. Okay, only within the 5 kilohertz. And because AM radio is having a double sideband spectrum, it will be containing the spectrum up to 10 kilohertz. Okay, so basically these are some typical parameters that you have to remember. Okay, for our further discussion. Okay, if you are not able to follow what is these parameters, okay, what is these parameters, I will be discussing it later on in the separate section. So please do not bother about it. So please just focus on to this parameters. Okay, that the FM radio station can be tuned between 88 to 108 megahertz. Okay, then its mid-band frequency is 10.7 megahertz, and its highest bandwidth is important, which is equals to 200 kilohertz. And this is one of the more important parameter which is not mentioned, but standard frequency deviation for an FM radio station will be delta F equals to 75 kilohertz. Okay, this is the typical frequency deviation. Okay, so frequency deviation, it is not strictly that it should be 75 kilohertz exactly, but it should be around 75 kilohertz. Okay, it may be a little bit less than that, or it may be a little bit more than that. Okay, so typically it should be around 75 kilohertz. So this is what the important typical parameters that an FM radio station should have. Okay, so based on this, now we have to move on to the discussion of how this indirect method is actually used for generation of a commercial FM radio station. Okay, signals, FM signals, commercial FM signals in a typical way. Okay, please try to see this one. So how this indirect method is actually used. So basically, as I said that in the indirect method of generation of the WBFM signal or frequency modulated signal, we will be having this type of block diagram. So basically this block diagram is for, it is a multiplier scheme used in a typical commercial FM transmitter. Okay, in a commercial FM transmitter, we use this type of generation method. So we need to understand the generation method one by one. Okay, so how we are choosing these things, like first we are generating an NBFM signal. As I said that we need to first generate an NBFM signal in which its its modulation index will be less than 1, and then it has to be passed through a frequency multiplier, then needed, then again we have to have a frequency converter or a mixer circuit, and then again if required we again have to pass it through a frequency multiplier until we get the desired output. Okay, so here you can see here you can observe that basically first of all we need to understand that, let us suppose that we want to design or generate a WBFM signal for a radio station whose carrier frequency is of 91.2 megahertz. As I said that the carrier frequency for FM radio station is actually varying between 88 megahertz to 108 megahertz. So let us suppose that if we want to design a FM radio station, okay, by indirect method in which our carrier frequency for the radio station will be 91.2 megahertz. Let us suppose that this is the requirement. Okay, this is the requirement. We want the ultimate carrier has to be a 91.2 megahertz. Okay, this should be the radio station frequency. Now, basically, if you see, there should be a certain parameter that has to be given to design such type of indirect method block diagram, okay, for any particular frequency generation. So for example, here we have this parameter, okay, we do have certain specification about the radio station. So the first specification that we have is what will be the carrier frequency at the output that we require? What is the final carrier frequency? So that we require is equals to 91.2 megahertz. And as I said that the standard frequency deviation for any typical FM radio station will be equals to 75 kilohertz. It means that this final delta F4 should be equals to 75 kilohertz. Okay, the final delta 4 we require is equals to 75 kilohertz. So generally these parameters will be given in the question. Okay, in the problems this type of a parameter has to be given. Okay, so basically we do have these two parameter first, that the final carrier frequency should be this much, and because in the standard FM the typical frequency deviation is equals to 75 kilohertz, so that has to be followed. So these two parameter is already known to us. Now generally in the indirect method of generation of the WBFM signal using the NBFM signal, the NBFM signal that we used at the first stage is actually having its carrier frequency FC1 that will be equals to 200 kilohertz. You must be wondering why it should be 200 kilohertz. Okay, but in the commercial applications you will find that the crystal oscillator that we used for generation of the carrier, it will be much stable in the case of 200 kilohertz, they have found. Okay, so basically because of the stability of the crystal oscillators which are available commercially, will produce 200 kilohertz frequency with greater stability, and therefore we generally use the NBFM signal at 200 kilohertz first. Okay, so this is the reason why we are choosing the FC1 equals to 1, okay, 200 kilohertz. Now the second thing is that we have to talk about what should be the frequency deviation when we generate an NBFM signal. So you remember that the frequency deviation, if you want for NBFM signal, as we know that beta is equals to delta F divided by FM, okay. So you remember that for NBFM signal, we need to keep the beta less than unity, okay, less than unity. So we need to select the delta delta F1 such that for all the message frequency, this beta should be less than 1, okay, that we have to ensure. So for example, if we want to send the audio signal, okay, if we want to send the audio signal then we know that the audio signal is having its like bandwidth from 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz. Fine. So generally, when you calculate the beta, beta is equals to delta f divided by fm. So whenever fm is a large value, okay, whenever fm is a very large value, that time obviously beta will be less than 1. Okay, beta will be less than 1. But whenever the frequency, message frequency fm is small, for example, if we talk about 100 hertz, okay, 100 hertz, then we have to choose delta f1 such that for all the frequencies minimum to maximum, okay, means fm is ranging from 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz. So it means that for all the ranges right from 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz, this beta should be less than 1. So such that we have to select our delta f1. So basically, as we know that 20 kilohertz, 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz is the typical range, but generally we do not send any information up to 20 hertz. Okay, typically in the commercial radio FM radio transmission, the minimum frequency that we expect is up to 50 hertz. Okay, not less than that. Okay, not less than that. So generally 50 hertz or 100 hertz is typically the minimum frequency that will be available in the message frequency. So what we do is generally we take the frequency deviation equals to delta f1 equals to 25 hertz. Okay, you please remember that these parameters I am telling you the standard value in the case of typical commercial FM transmission. You remember this, okay? So these are the standard value I'm talking about. So first of all, we need to generate a NBFM signal that will have its carrier frequency equals to 20 kilohertz, and then the frequency deviation that we have to use is equals to 25 hertz. Now you can calculate if we have the like FM equals to 50 hertz. Suppose we want to send the 50 hertz, then 25 divided by 50, okay, you will be getting beta equals to 0.5. Okay, and whenever FM is equals to 20 kilohertz, obviously this beta will be much lesser than unity. So basically what we are trying to do is by choosing delta f1 equals to 25 hertz, we are ensuring that for all the range of frequencies for massive signal, this beta is less than 1, and it will remain a NBFM signal. It will be a narrowband FM signal. So that we have to ensure for entire range of our message frequency, right from 50 hertz, you can say, or 100 hertz to up to 20 kilohertz. Okay, so 25 hertz is sufficient to choose. Okay, that will be able to keep our signal as a NBFM signal. So these are the typical parameters that will be mentioned first. Okay, and then based on these parameters, we need to calculate what should be the frequency multiplication factor that we need, and whether we need a frequency converter or not, that we also have to decide. So for example, how to proceed in this problem? Suppose that if we have this, okay, we want to generate the radio station, FM radio station at 91.2 megahertz with frequency deviation equals to typical 75 kilohertz. Okay, with this much of frequency and frequency deviation. Okay, so how much we are having? 200 kilohertz of carrier here, and we are having a initial frequency deviation equals to 25 hertz. So these need to be converted into this values. Okay, in which we are having a carrier frequency of 91.2 megahertz and its frequency deviation is equals to 75 kilohertz. So how to proceed with this? So basically to convert these NBFM signal into this WBFM signal, okay, how to do this is, first of all, we need to obtain certain parameters. For example, how to calculate, see, to obtain the final frequency deviation as delta f4 equals to 75 kilohertz. Okay, what should be the multiplication factor that we need to calculate? Okay, the multiplication factor. So first of all, what is this multiplication should be? 75 kilohertz should be divided by the 25. Okay, so that will be the multiplication factor that we need. So if we are choosing this, okay, then this multiplication factor, the required multiplication factor would be n equals to something around 3000. Okay, you can calculate this by keeping 75,000 divided by 25, because this is the final frequency deviation that we need, and this is the initial frequency deviation that we have. So after having this ratio, we can calculate this ratio is coming out to as 3000. Okay, so n is the multiplication factor that will be required is equals to 3000. Now to implement this 3000, you remember that generally uh, in the practical cases, we do have the frequency doublers and frequency triplets. Okay, either we can do the doubling the frequencies, or we can uh, means multiply it by the 3 times. Okay, so just tripling or doubling of the frequencies are possible, and like higher order multiplication is generally avoided. For example, we cannot multiply it with 5 or 7 or 8, 9, 10. Okay, if we wish to multiply it with the factor of 8, rather than having a single multiplier of multiplication factor 8, we use a cascaded connection of frequency doubler. So if we use 3 cascaded connection of the frequency doubler, 2 multiplied with 2 again with 2, then it is going to give you a multiplication factor of 8. Okay, so based on that concept, what we can do is we can just try to implement this particular multiplication factor of 3000. Okay, so if you found that the exactly 3000 multiplication factor by having a frequency doubler or tripler is not possible, you try to work out this one. Okay, you could not be able to get this multiplication factor exactly. So what you will find that we can have this in 2 different stages. Like this first stage will have a multiplication factor of 64, and the other stage will have a multiplication factor of 48. Okay, you remember that this is not the only way of implementing this means generation of the WBFM signal. Okay, there may be a different ways, there may be a many different ways, you remember that. Okay, I'm just talking about the typical commercial FM transmitter, and these are the values that they are taking for generation of the WBFM signal. So you remember that it is not the only possible way. Okay, there may be some different other way that we can also do, and we can get the same result. Okay, so here you can see that this multiplication factor of 3000 can be implemented by having, at the first stage, we can have 64 multiplied with the 48. And then if you see, after having this multiplication factor, you will be able to get total multiplication factor, which is equals to 3072. So we are not going to exactly get 3000, but we are getting a value near around 3000. Okay, we are getting a value near around 3000. Okay, it may be a little bit less, or it may be a little bit more. So generally we do not means keep it less, we generally keep it a little bit more. Okay, so here it is 3072 we are getting. Now if you see, if instead of keeping 3000 as the multiplication factor, if we keep the multiplication factor is equals to 3072, then due to this, this will give the final frequency deviation. If we calculate, that will give you equals to 76.8 kilohertz. How we can calculate? You just multiply 3072 with the 25. Okay, if you multiply this 3072 with 25, the final frequency deviation due to this multiplication factor that we are going to get is equals to 76.8 kilohertz. That will be a little bit more than the standard frequency deviation of equals to 75 kilohertz. So it is also acceptable. You remember that. Okay, it is also acceptable. But suppose that if you want exactly, let us say if you want exactly that it should be equals to 75 kilohertz, then how to do that? So just you can reduce this delta F1 a little bit. Okay, you just reduce the delta F a little bit. Okay, such that the multiplication of the delta F1 with the 3072 will give you 75,000. Okay, so basically if you keep it 24.41 hertz, okay, 24.41 hertz, then this delta F1, if you multiply it with the 3072, you will be able to get final frequency deviation equals to 75 kilohertz. Okay, so you remember that it is not required, but I'm just for your sake of understanding, if you want, you can do in this way also. So now once we are able to understand this, okay, if you're able to understand this, okay, so now we have already got this multiplication factor of 3072. So now you just think about, once we have this multiplication factor, we are going to get the final frequency deviation equals to 76.8 kilohertz, which is also acceptable. Now you just think about, if we multiply the carrier. Okay, if we multiply the carrier with the same multiplication factor, okay, with the same multiplication factor. So initially the carrier that we have taken is equals to 200 kilohertz. Okay, so this FC1 that we have taken or a standard value that we have taken is equals to 2 kilohertz. If we multiply it with this particular multiplication factor, then you can find that this value that we are going to get is equals to 614.4 megahertz. Please make it correct. Okay, multiplication factor of FC1 with 3072 will give this FC4. It is not a delta F4, it is FC4. Okay, the final carrier frequency that we are going to get with this particular multiplication factor 3072 is equals to 614.4 megahertz. So you remember that we wanted the final carrier frequency FC4 is equals to 91.2 megahertz, but here due to this multiplication factor, we are going to get the final carrier frequency equals to 1614.4 megahertz, which is much larger than the required value. Okay, the required value. So because of that, what we can understand that the frequency multiplier itself is not sufficient in designing the circuit, okay, or to get the final output. So what we need to do is we need to have a frequency converter or a mixer circuit that will be able to perform the down conversion of the carrier frequency. Okay, we have already seen that due to the frequency multiplier, okay, due to the frequency multiplier, there are three parameters that is going to change. The first parameter is the carrier frequency that is going to change, okay, by the multiplication factor. The second thing that is going to change is the beta value, means modulation index, and the third thing which is going to change is the our frequency deviation. But what happens when it is passed through the frequency converter? We have already seen frequency converter or mixer. The only parameter which is going to change is the our carrier frequency, and all other parameters such as frequency deviation or beta value or modulating frequency, all are going to be unchanged. Okay, it is not going to change. So here we can have this. So we have understood that we need to have a frequency converter that will be able to down convert the signal. Okay, it should be able to reduce the signal. So here we can see that basically if you want to calculate with this stage, okay, so first of all we have taken FC1 equals to 200 kilohertz, okay, we have taken, and then delta F1 we have taken 25 hertz. So these are the typical parameters which are already given. So after passing through the first frequency multiplier, okay, FC2 that we are going to get here is this FC2, okay, that will be the multiplication with the 64, okay. So 200 hertz, 200 kilohertz will be multiplied with 64. So we are going to get this FC2 equals to 12.8 megahertz. This is our value, 12.8 megahertz. Similarly, our frequency deviation delta F2 that we are going to get is also going to multiply with the same factor, 64. So it is 25 multiplied with the 64. We are going to get it equals to 1.6 kilohertz. So here again we are getting this value is 1.6 kilohertz. It means that after passing through this frequency multiplier, our carrier frequency has changed and our frequency deviation is also changed. Okay, and when frequency deviation is changed, obviously by the same factor, our beta is also going to change. Remember that beta will be also changed by a factor of 64. Fine. So after having this, okay, here what we can do is here we can calculate what should be the value of FC3. Okay, what should be the value of FC3? So basically the required FC4 was equals to 91.2 megahertz. Okay, so when we have this FC4 equals to 91.2 megahertz, and this has been obtained after multiplication of the factor of 48, then you must be able to calculate what should be the FC3. Okay, so what will be the value of FC3 that will be multiplied with the factor of 48 to give you FC4 equals to 91.2 megahertz. So how to calculate that? It is very simple. So this FC3 can be calculated by dividing the 91.2 megahertz by a factor of 48. So if you divide it, you will be finding that this FC3 should be equals to 1.9 megahertz. Okay, it should be 1.9 megahertz. So now you can see that here we have the FC2 that we have obtained is equals to 12.8 megahertz. And here we need a FC3 that should be equals to 1.9 megahertz. So to obtain means to reduce this frequency, what we can have is we can have a mixer stage, okay, or a frequency converter stage. Okay, so we need to have a frequency converter in which we have to give this signal as an input, and then we have to select the crystal oscillator frequency. Okay, so that frequency should be selected such that whenever we calculate the difference between the delta FC2 minus this FL, okay, or FL minus FC2, it should give you a value equals to 1.9 megahertz. So how to get that? So we have got the FC2 equals to 12.8 megahertz here. So either we can choose the local oscillator frequency means less than 1.9 megahertz. Okay, if we choose 12, here it is FC2 equals to 12.8 megahertz. So this frequency should be means it should be lesser than it should be less than by 1.9 megahertz. Okay, if it is 12.8 megahertz, either we can subtract 1.9 megahertz to get 10.9 megahertz. Okay, or we can also add 1.9 megahertz to this value to get a frequency, local oscillator frequency that will be equals to something around 14.7 megahertz. Okay, so both are going to give you the equivalent FC3 equals to 1.9 megahertz. You remember, it is not just 10.9 megahertz. Okay, you can either have a greater value as compared to greater by 1.9. Okay, so either we can have a crystal oscillator frequency that will be greater than greater by 1.9 megahertz as compared to 12.8 megahertz if you add it to 1.9, or you can subtract 1.9, and therefore this frequency converter will only change the carrier frequency. Okay, it is going to change the only carrier frequency, and here you can see that because we have seen that it is not going to change the frequency deviation. So frequency deviation we have got is equals to 1.6 kilohertz. So it will remain 1.6 kilohertz even after passing through the frequency converter or the mixer stage. Okay, so this way we are going to get the final output. Okay, that will be equals to 91.2 megahertz, and delta 4 will be equals to 76.8 kilohertz, which is also an acceptable value. So this way, basically, this is the way of generation of the WBFM signal by having the indirect method, okay, in which first we are generating the narrowband FM signal, and then it will be passed through an appropriate multiplier stages and frequency converter stages to generate an FM station of a desired radio frequency and frequency deviation. So you remember that this by this discussion, you must be able to follow what is the indirect method of generation of the WBFM signal. Okay, this is the commercial FM transmitter that I have explained, but generally in the numerical problems, okay, these things can be changed. Okay, these specifications can be changed. Okay, so you remember that whenever a problem comes in the examinations, you need to concentrate upon the given details. Okay, whatever be the specification has been mentioned, based on those specifications only you have to answer. Okay, generally we use the like multiplier can be implemented by appropriate number of frequency doublets and triplets, okay, in cascaded connection. But if it is mentioned that there is a quintuplets, okay, multiplied with the factor of 5 or 7 or 8, okay, you have to accordingly solve your problem. Okay, so I hope you must be able to follow this lecture. If you have any further query, let me know. I will be explaining it further, okay, wherever it is required. So let me know your doubts with your comments. So please stay connected with the channel. Okay, I will be discussing the direct method of generation of the FM signal in the coming lectures. So thank you for watching, and please stay connected with the channel for more updates. So thank you.